Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my weekly deck reviews. I have so much to say today. It's a talkative day. I'm filming and it's a talkative day, but I have to say, that all rhymed. I have to say that it's raining right now and it is pure bliss. I don't know if you can hear it in the background. I know you can usually hear the traffic. That was traffic. But there's also rain. Just all the rain, and it is glorious. I love living in this area. I love the rain. I mean, it gets a little old after a while, but for right now, especially in the fall, oh, the best rain. Let's talk about what I've been working with for the past week. Well, what I attempted to work with for the past week. So, spoiler alert, was not a fan of the Wizard Tarot, which was so sad. I wanted to be inspired to play with this deck, and I was not at all inspired, and it's not the fault of the fabulous author Corinne Kenner, because this book looks really cool. And I started to flip through it. I realized as I did though that it does feel a little bit reminiscent of those Witchcraft 101 books that I read years and years ago. There's fabulous information in here, please don't get me wrong, and if you are new to both witchcraft and tarot, this could be one of the coolest decks for you to dive into for the book alone. Unfortunately, it's out of print, so it's a little tricky to get your hands on. But the deck itself, and can we talk about the really beautiful Peggy bag that matches it so perfectly? I don't really want to let the bag go, not gonna lie. But I will be letting this deck go for sure, and I have 2 copies, so there's that. I have 1 copy of the big book, 2 copies of the deck. If you really want this deck, hit me up, make me an offer, tarotwithlisa@gmail.com. Just random plug, just saying, because I really need to get this gone. It just made me mad. And this is one of the reasons why. That is the grumpiest looking King of Pentacles I've ever seen in my life. Like, he does not look friendly or nice or kind or, I don't know. I couldn't with this artwork, and it's not that it's bad art. In fact, in some ways, it's really fantastic as far as photo manipulation type art goes. But I really can't deal. Okay, I'll tell you something else that bugs me about this kind of art. When you see, this one's not so bad for it actually, but the wands and the flames, they just look a little too uniform. This one's not so bad because each flame is slightly different, but I've seen decks that use this kind of art where they're like basically copy and pasted. And some of the images are really whimsical and wonderful, but there's something about this style of art that I just find really uninspiring and uninteresting. This is one of my favorite cards in the whole deck, actually, the Hanged Man. It looks like we have Odin here crafting up his runes, but like a modern type dude. He also reminds me a little bit of Mad Eye Moody from Harry Potter. But yeah, I couldn't with this deck. I should actually just hold it this way so the camera doesn't have to work so hard to change the focus. But you know, it's great. It's a fun deck. It is so up my alley as far as the theme of the deck goes and the fact that it creates its own world. But you guys, like 2 days in, I was like, no, I don't want to play with this deck. So I put it away because I know usually within a couple of days if a deck is for me or not, and this was definitely not for me. So I put it aside and I pulled out my Radiant Wise Spirit deck by Lo Scarabeo. Now, I have to say, while I have 2 different kinds of classic Rider-Waite-Smith decks, one is the Centennial Edition Rider-Waite-Smith deck, and this is the other one, I have never felt like I really wanted to like play with it for a whole week. It just has always been a deck I've reached for study purposes. Like if I'm studying, taking a tarot course, going to a tarot workshop, this is the deck that I typically reach for. Why? Okay, there we go. Not this one, but like any classic Rider-Waite-Smith deck. Previously my Centennial, and now this one. So I use this in my Tarot Memoirs series. I would use a classic Rider-Waite-Smith for study, but never just for reading with. And can I tell you, I had a lot of fun reading with this deck this week. I used to see the classic Rider-Waite-Smith artwork as pretty boring and bland and uninspiring. But actually, now that, I don't know, maybe now I have a new appreciation for it. Maybe it's a bit of an acquired taste, but I really, really loved it. You know, it's funny, I actually get cranky with decks that don't have enough Rider-Waite-Smith correlation in their artwork. And yet, I always poo-pooed the original artwork that I wanted to see represented, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just really had a lot of fun. I did a lot of spreads with this deck this week. I got really fantastic readings. I think it's important that we sort of give ourselves a chance to circle back, especially when we're talking about classic deaths. Oh my goodness. Classic decks, be it the Thoth deck by Crowley or one of Pamela Coleman Smith's decks. I think it's important just to revisit them now and again, because like me, you might be like, oh wow. And in this case, it really is, I think, the dramatic coloring that makes a difference. But I actually, a couple times this week, even pulled out my Centennial and enjoyed it way more as just a deck to read with than I ever have before. This will definitely be one of the decks I grab, and if I'm doing client readings, like in person, I will definitely grab for this deck and make sure, keep showing the Ten of Swords. I'll grab for this deck and make sure that I have it available to my client as one of the decks they can choose for their reading, because it is so easy to read with. I loved the cardstock. It's like really glossy. I like that it's glossy. I don't know why, but I do. I think I'm gonna take I have a vintagey, what do you call them? Distress ink stamp that I think I might use on the sides just to make them look a little more worn. So I'm probably gonna do that at some point to edge it, but other than that, I don't plan to do any other modifications. I love it just as it is. I love the sturdy box. Los Scarabeo did a fantastic job also with the little white book that came with this deck. I already put it away and then I can't, here we go. I can do this. It's actually a little chunk, much nicer than the usual pamphlets we're used to seeing, I think, from Los Scarabeo. Pretty chunky, and the descriptions you get for each card are also pretty chunky. So that's the majors, and even in the minors, like that's the Nine of Cups entry. Like that's a lot. That's pretty generous. Like for a while there, some of these more classic decks, you got like a bunch of keywords and that was it. Something is squeaking outside. It might be a bird. I think that's a bird. Also, can you hear the rain? It's so amazing. Anyway, I really had fun playing with this, but I was super disappointed by the Wizard's Tarot. So now I know, and I will find it a new home and all will be well, but I was disappointed for sure. This though, I'm excited about. This typically actually just lives on my shelf behind, nope, there, my shelf behind me. So I'm probably not gonna put it back in its bag, but this is the bag that now belongs to it. I just really liked it because the orange and the Magician's side kind of matched for me. So that is gonna go back up on my shelf. I was gonna say, let's talk about what I'm gonna work with next week, but no, I haven't even talked Oracle yet. 7 minutes in, doing great for time. So the Oracle deck, look at this Peggy bag, are you kidding? It's moon phases all over it. Is the Oracle deck that I've been working with this week, the Queen of the Moon Oracle. I loved this deck. Stunning artwork. The guidebook is lovely. But let's look at the cards. Here's what the backs look like. Really nice cardstock, sturdy but flexible, like a standard Oracle deck stock. Borderless. Stunning images. This is an example of the kind of photo manipulated artwork that I love. It's got this dreamy quality to it. This would actually look beautiful next to some of my other photo-y manipulated decks, like the Bohemian Gothic or Alice deck by Baba Studios. It's just dreamy and gorgeous. The keywords are fantastic. And the moon phase information is very small. I see myself working with this as I did this week pretty regularly as just a regular Oracle deck. It felt balanced, like you have a keyword like darkness. I've always hesitated to pick up a moon-based Oracle deck as much as I love lunar energy, because I was concerned that it would only be usable with whatever moon phase it currently is. But I didn't feel that way at all working with this deck. It felt like the moon inspired this deck without locking it into a particular way of using it, which was really nice. I've seen, I think another moon deck that I've seen is Moonology, I believe it is. This one just feels more flexible to me when I was looking at different walkthroughs. But I really thoroughly enjoyed working with this week. I'm a little sad actually to be putting it away to work with another deck next week, but I'm also really excited about what I'm working with next week. So there we have it. So I will put that one away. The guidebook, again, really fantastic. For every card, you would have a little mini color image, a really nice write-up, nothing too long. There's usually a affirmation built into the text. So for the self-reflection card, the affirmation is, I am not afraid to look deeply at myself in all aspects. And there's also at the end of the write-up a companion stone or mineral or metal. Yeah, companion stone or metal that you can work with. So for the self-reflection card, it suggests working with Tiger's Eye. That's really cool. I could definitely see rotating this in to replace one of the decks I work with as part of my healing practice, because I think there's a lot of depth to this deck. It looked beautiful next to the Radiant Wise Spirit. It also looked good next to the Wizard Tarot, but it looked better next to the Radiant Wise Spirit. But that may be because I am biased and I didn't like the Wizard Tarot. So there you go. Take that with a grain of salt. But this one I loved working with. Oh, and the reading cloth. I heart the reading cloth I was working with this week because it's so gorgeous. It is this beautiful embroidered pentacle cloth that Peggy made me. I'm holding it up sideways. And it has all the moon phases. I'm going to salt your face, sorry, with these moon phases. But look. It's so pretty. It's so pretty, and it was so much fun to work with. And I would I would align my cards usually with the points. So for my daily draws, I'd put my cards like up here. This is terrible. It's a terrible angle. I would align my cards like sort of with these top parts, so that when I took my photos for my journal, you would see like a card here and a card there, but you could still see all of these moon phases in this part of the pentacle. It was so cool. Anyways, I really had fun. This is what the back looks like. I didn't use the back at all. But I really love this cloth. And it's like probably my perfect reading cloth size too. I think this one is probably like a 16-inch by 16-inch cloth, but it's just perfect, and it folds into this perfect little square so that my embroidery still shows, and I just put it in my drawer like that, and it's really easy to spot and pull out when I want it. I don't know, this is not a sales pitch, I swear. I really like it. Alright. And one last thing, sorry. Working with these ongoing. But I have been working with my new runes. I showed these last week. I use a rune a day, and it has been asked a couple of times, but all I'm using these for is I'll pull a rune for the day, and I'll put it right between my tarot and my oracle card. I'll take a picture. Those three combined, so the energy of the tarot card, the energy of the oracle and the message, and the meaning of the rune, I take into account to create a cohesive message for myself, excuse me, for my daily draws. So however they work together, wherever I can see the overlap of the messages, I'll usually write about that. And so I kind of use them together, much like if you pulled 3 tarot cards, you look at them individually, but you also look at how they combine together. That's how I work with the oracle and the tarot and the rune together. So I'm going to be continuing to work with these into next week. I don't see this stopping anytime soon. They still smell so good. What I did do this past week, though, is in my traveler's notebook, I have a section. I'm still going to do a tour. I keep saying it. I swear I'm going to one of these days. But I created a section in my personal, like, little white book where I have all the runes by Ayet and all of their meanings. So I have drawn the rune, I have information on what it's called, if it has multiple names, what letter it's associated with, its divination meanings, magical meanings, and any reversal meanings if it has reverse meanings. And this has been really handy because this goes with me everywhere, so I have that in there now, and it's been really handy. So I'm no longer working with the rune learning cards. I feel like I really enjoyed working with those. I think I had been working with them for about 2 months or so. I could probably go back and see how long I'd been working with those, but it's one less thing to carry, and I put most of the information from those into my book so that it's handy and I can get at it, and it's good. So the tarot deck I'm going to be working with this week is probably going to be not much of a surprise to those of you who have seen all my recent videos, because I'm going to be working with, this is the bag. Isn't the bag perfect though? Look at this bamboo fabric. The Way of the Panda Tarot. This just came in this last week, and I'm so excited to be working with it as my main working deck for next week. This deck just shipped. It was a Kickstarter that I backed, but can we talk about for just a second, this are the cards and that's the read. How freaking perfect could I have gotten? I picked out this fabric like months ago because I knew this deck was coming, and I'm like, I need bamboo fabric for my, how perfect. Anyway, Peggy has more of this fabric, I'm just saying. But I'm really excited to be working with this deck. So you've seen the backs. Let me show you some fronts. These pandas are everything. I'm really looking forward to working with this and getting to know it and building a relationship with it. It is right up my alley, totally my aesthetic. I love the artwork. Super inspired to get to know all of these little characters, especially because the guidebook, as I mentioned in my walkthrough, which I'll put up in the cards, the guidebook is written so that you get to know the name of every single panda in the deck, and every single panda has a story about themselves to share in here, and I'm just like, this panda deck, this book, and this deck are going to be going everywhere with me for the next week until I have thoroughly consumed as much of this as I possibly can, because I'm so excited. So yes, these are my everything this week. I will definitely let you know how they read, how they worked out for me, how I got on with the deck, all of that good stuff. And of course, I had to pick an oracle deck to go with it, and that would suit. Yep. And I have the Roots and Wings Oracle deck. This is by Kat Riles. And look, it comes with a little spread card. These, first of all, have that really lovely like rose petal finish, and I didn't have any oracle decks with this finish. The only tarot decks I have with this finish are the Brady Tarot and the Luminous Void Tarot, and I just love them. But I've already played with this deck. Like you can see, it's even got a little bit of a bow. I couldn't keep my hands off of it, but I'm going to be working with it all week long. These are really, really wonderful. They've got great expansive keywords, lots of cards, right up my alley. This is going to be, I think, a fast favorite. I'm really excited. I think I have actually used this in a client reading already. Yes, I did use this in a client reading recently. So yes, I am loving this deck. It's such a wonderful intuitive reader, but again, we'll see how it plays for an entire week. I will be using it a lot. It doesn't come with a guidebook, and I didn't order it. You can order it naked, which is how I ordered it. Like it came, I think, wrapped in plastic. Or you can order it with a tuck box or a bag in a box, I think, or there's a few options. And it comes with this like little trifold that has a little bit of information for every card. But like with keywords like abundance and balance, I often don't feel like I need a guidebook, but I will keep this with it and see if I have to refer to it. And if I do, I'll let you know how it worked out. But I'm so excited. And check out, so here's what the backs look like. Again. And this is the Peggy bag I picked. I feel like I have another really good match with these two. So anyway, I'm really, really excited to be playing with this one, and I love that it comes with a little spread. So I'm probably going to try that out this week too. We'll see. There's so many spreads in the Panda book that I'm going to want to try, so I may be doing a lot of spreads this week. We'll see. So I'm excited to be working with that. And then of course, I asked Peggy real nice if she could also make me a panda friendly reading cloth, so she did. So this is my panda friendly reading cloth. Isn't it cute? And then I asked her to put something lighter on the back, so there's this really nice light gray fabric. It looks almost kind of purpley in this light, I feel like, but no, it's definitely gray. And look, it's so great. I love it so much. So that'll be really pretty. And I think the Roots and Wings, because it has lots of white space, and the Panda deck together with the white space, it's gonna look just beautiful. So if you like aesthetics, we're all set. And I'll be working with my runes again this week, as I mentioned. So that is it for this week's weekly deck reviews. If you want or have feelings or opinions about any of the decks or items I've shown, let me know down below what you think, because I really enjoy hearing your guys' comments. I always read every single one, so I really appreciate when you share that stuff with me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you all again real soon. Bye!